Happy Monday, Flosstubers. It's Donna, Doodlebug Stitcher, and I'm here to talk with you about cross stitching. First of all, I hope that everybody's Mother's Day was wonderful. Those of you who are moms, and that includes those pet moms out there, you're included in that. We had a very cool and rainy Mother's Day here. It was very quiet. I got a decent amount of stitching done. I kind of vegetated because the weather didn't really make much sense today. I went and visited my mom to see her and wish her a happy Mother's Day. And that's pretty much it. It was kind of like a laid back weekend. My daughter and I spent Friday night, we kind of had a sleepover at Grammy's house. Or Mimi as she likes to be called. So we stayed at my mom's house with her, and then had to get up at the crack of dawn to go to soccer. And then we were there for most of the day, and we left just before dinner time, and then came home and had dinner with my husband, and tried to go to sleep. But it's been like really bad storms here, like violent, like thunder and lightning. So we're not supposed to have great weather this week. So it's looking like soccer practice is going to be in a holding pattern until we get closer to practice days tomorrow and Thursday, and then we'll see. But the coach has already sent the email out saying we may not have practice. So, but our final game of the season is on Saturday, and we are snack parents that day. So we have to go no matter what. So hopefully the weather will clear out this week and be good for the weekend for their final game. Other than that, I've been viciously working on Stitch Mania stuff. I have a little bit of a haul to show in today's video, some of which I had to postpone a couple of my projects, waiting for new fabric because I had decided to change the fabric after Mania started. So I was waiting for that to come in, and it came in at the end of last week. So I will finally be getting to those two projects in the next day or so, probably tomorrow, probably before Friday. So I'll be able to show you progression on those next week. So before anything, I wanted to give my shout outs. So I have 4, one of which is a new Flosstuber. So first, right off the bat, Vonna Epperson, who is the Twisted Stitcher. You guys probably know who she is. If you don't, you've been living under a rock, really, because she is an awesome finisher. Oh my God. I've already contacted her. I'm getting ready to send her a couple of pieces to have her finish them because, I don't have the time nor the stuff to get them done, and I really love her finishing. So I kind of like obsess over her finishing videos, and so I have them all cataloged in my YouTube lists of channels and stuff that I like to watch. So go and check her out. She'll be listed and linked below. If I could talk today. And I apologize because I'm very congested. My allergies are kicking into high gear. I'm taking Claritin and it's not doing it. So I apologize in advance if I sniffle a lot. My apologies. Next up, Pam and Steph, the ladies from Just Keep Stitchin'. You guys are a hoot and a half. I swear. You make me laugh so much. I enjoy watching the two of you together, and just keep it coming because it's great. Their channel is going to be linked below as well. Go and check them out, subscribe to them, and watch them. They are just hilarious. If I ever get out to the Ohio area, I definitely want to look them up and just have a stitch and chat session at their LNS. So, and then lastly, Donna, who is Flannel Jammy Farm. I love you. I love your hair. I have hair envy right now. I love your hair. I have family who lives in the Virginia Beach area, so I'm like contemplating coming and doing an impromptu visit with them this summer just so that I can come down and see you guys down at your LNS and hopefully get to run into you. And then lastly is a new Flosstuber. Her name is Lindsey. She is, her channel is Thread Maniac, M-A-N-I-A-C, Maniac. Go and check her out. She just posted her first Flosstube. And she, in her Flosstube, she talks about her some previous finishes. So definitely worth a look, and subscribe to her channel and give her a lot of stitching love. So with that in mind, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is show you 2 of my prior finishes. As I've mentioned before in my videos, I have a lot of stuff that I stitched years and years ago and it's never been finished. And I came across these 2 and I thought that they would be, they're different than what I gravitate towards now, but they're beautiful, and so I eventually have to have them stitched. So the first one is a sweetheart tree design. I can't even tell you how long ago I stitched this. It was definitely before I had my daughter, I can tell you that. But it's very intricate. It's tiny. It has some beading on it, and then a charm. And the charm that I have on here is a Noah's Ark. So I'll show you that. It's really, really pretty. All those beads. So I figure if somebody, I might finish it up as an ornament and give it to somebody who's having a baby or something like that. Because I'm not gonna have a baby, so it's not. I don't have a nursery in my house anymore. This next piece, forgive me because I didn't do a lot of homework on this piece. Sorry. I know that I stitched it back in 1998 because it was a stitching round robin. A round robin, if you're not familiar, is that you get together with groups of people who live in different areas of the world or country, and you pick, you basically start a design and then you send it by mail to them, and then they stitch a little bit on it and then send it, so it's like around, it goes around. So this was a four-person round robin. So the pattern that I chose, the patterns I chose were a prairie schooler. I don't know what happened to the charts. I can't even remember what name the charts are. You'll probably, if you look at them and you're a fan of the prairie schooler, and you identify these, comment down below, because I'm at a loss. All I could tell is like, oh, that's prairie schooler. I remember doing that at some point, but I can't remember what the name of it is. So I stitched this back. This is how long ago it was, because it was everybody signed the parts that they did, because mine is a 4-part series. And I stitched it in April of 1998, and I was still married to my ex-husband, so my name is totally different. So I don't know if I should keep it like this or stitch it, like restitch my name or something. Give me your opinions. Comment down below what you think. Anyway, so this is a prairie schooler design. I don't know what it's called. It was houses and they were seasonal. I have this thing for seasonal things. I like to have the 4 seasons in some way. But this was stitched all as one piece. And then the top pieces, this went all the way to the UK and back. So you can see there in this first block right here, the spring block, it was stitched by a stitcher in the UK. And then you have the summer block there. And then down bottom you have the autumn block right there, and then you have the winter block, which is the block that I stitched, and I'm really bad at this, so that's the block that I stitched right there. So again, it's prairie schooler. I can't for the life of me tell you, but I'm willing to give a prize to somebody who can identify that, and you know, maybe I can get you a new prairie schooler design or something if you can help me identify what those charts are. Or if you can help me even find the charts, because I'd love to have it again to restitch it as individual pieces, maybe to do for decorating or for my tree or something like that. Because that was done all as one piece, and I think I'm gonna like frame it and maybe give it to my mom or something like that. Anyway, so those are two older finishes that I did. Now let's talk about Mania. So we are right now, today is day 14 of Stitch Mania. I have been doing lots of stitching. Hold on for a second, I have to get a drink. Sorry, parched. I've been at school all morning doing book fair because it's book fair week at school. So what I'm going to show you is the stitching that I got done this week. So that was last Monday, which was the 7th, through yesterday. So the first project that I did last Monday was the Lizzie Kate strings, and this is Thankful string that I have started working on. So I got a leaf and some of the letters and that pie. That little pie, look how cute that is. Let me turn it, oh, there we go. Isn't that the cutest little pie? And the funny thing is, and I didn't plan this at all, is that the little pie plate is like this turquoise color, and that's the color of my pie plate in my kitchen that I do my like fall pies in. How weird. So it makes it kind of cool that it kind of matches home, and it makes it mine. And then the next one was a Bent Creek design. I had originally planned on stitching this. I forget what had happened. I don't remember. Anyway, I thought I had planned to stitch it later in the, or no, I'll explain it a little bit later. So this is Blessings Abound, and it's one of those tiny little Bent Creeks, and it calls for the fancy threads, and I didn't have the fancy threads it called for, and I had bought so many other fancy threads that I needed for other projects. I said, I'm just going to do this one in DMC. So I've started stitching it. This is actually 2 days worth of stitching, and I'll explain that in just a minute why I did 2 days on it. I had to, because there was a little bit of a scheduling and snafu thing going on. So anyway, I didn't have the fancy threads for this. I'm doing it in DMC, and now that I've gotten this far along, I'm kind of thinking I would have liked it to be in the DMC. So I'm gonna finish this and have it, and maybe finish it off, and maybe do a donation of it, you know, finish it completely, and then like donate it to like the PTA fundraiser or something like that, maybe in the fall, so that way I can maybe raffle it off, and the school can get some money for that. But I think I do want to restitch it on maybe like a 10 count, because I'd like it to be a little bit bigger, like on Tula or something like that. But I definitely want to use the fancy threads because I just like the way the picture looks, and this doesn't look like the picture on the chart. It's much darker, and I'm like, that's not what I thought it was going to be. Anyway, so that was Bent Creek. I did 3 Bent Creeks this week. I really love Bent Creek. And so this was Wednesday. This is the start of summer row, and I got one of the dunes and the flags and some of the letters and the start of the waves that go underneath that grouping of letters. So that stitched up really quick, and I'm doing a mix of fancy threads and DMC with that one. And then on Thursday I did Bent Creek's flag 1998, and I got quite a bit. I got the first row of letters done, so that's all the wide it is. It's got a little bit more detail on this side, and that right here, like down on this side. But this is the edge of the design on the right. So this is going to take me a little bit because there's a lot of fill there. As you can see, you've got all these stripes, and I've only gotten 2 of the stripes made. But it takes some time, and I really want to try and get the variegation in on the on that, so that's why I'm kind of doing an outline and then going in until I get to the center, because I really want that variegation of the fancy threads to show through on that. I'm learning that as I go along, that I like on pieces that call for all fancy threads, you don't really see the variegation, especially if it's just like a pop here and a pop there and, you know, a little bit, a single line. You're not going to see a ton of variegation. So for that, it's like, say, you know, and this goes back to some of the other floss tubers that we all watch. Like, I know that Priscilla and Chelsea say it all the time, you know, pinch your pennies where you can. And do I want to spend $2.50 on a fancy floss that is only going to be seen in like little dots of color, you know, or do I want to spend 50 cents, or in some cases less than that, for a DMC skein that I can put those same colors in? So I'm starting to do that. On Friday was supposed to be Fall Friday stitching, and I had intended to start the Harvest Keeper from Plum Street Samplers, but I decided right after Mania started, I decided that I didn't like the fabric, and so I got new fabric and I was waiting for it to come. So it finally came on Friday, and I was away all day. I was at my daughter's book fair, started Friday of last week, so I was at school all day from like 8:15 in the morning until 3:30, and then I went straight from there to my mom's. So there was no way that I was going to be able to start that. So I ended up stitching another day on Blessings Abound, which is why I have gotten so much farther with that. So now that I have the fabrics, I will be able to do the Harvest Keeper and my Babushka's Bees from Plum Street this week. I'll be able to work on them, and I'll show you that fabric here in a second. So on Saturday was Stars and Stripes Saturday, the hashtag that Priscilla and Chelsea created. So I started working on my Country Cottage Needleworks Bless This Home, and I'm doing mine on R&R Creek Bed Brown linen, and it's a dark linen. It looks like it sat in like the coffee for a long time. It's not as mottled as like if you hand dyed it with the coffee or the tea, but it's just a really dark colored fabric. You can see how dark that is. So when I had originally bought the fancy flosses that were Priscilla's, because they're kind of organizing this stitch along, Priscilla and Chelsea's, they had picked their own floss colors. So I had not done the ones that the chart called for, and I got the ones that Priscilla switched it to, which include like the Eve's Leaves, Stepping Stones, the Barn Red, and the Old Blue Jeans, I think it was. And so when I started to stitch the roof, I did all the top border of the leaves. I did that while stitching at soccer on Saturday. And then when I went to start the roof, I started stitching it in the Stepping Stones, and you could barely see it. This color of the Stepping Stones floss kind of just blended right into this fabric, and it was like invisible. And I showed it to my husband and I said, "Can you see this?" And he's like, is it supposed to blend in? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, you can't see it then. So I had to frog all of it out. So I wasted like 4 plies of the fabric, because I had used 2 of them, two plies. So I had to frog all of that out, and then I had to go through frantically and look to see what other fancy floss I had that could work for substitution. So I ended up going with hickory sticks, Priscilla has this thing about hickory sticks. I can see why. It's a great, great neutral brown. It probably goes with everything. So I think I'm going to have to start making sure I have extra skeins of like certain like neutrals on hand so I can switch them out. But you can see, I pulled the stepping stones out. You can see the color of it, and up against this, it matches almost exactly. So yeah, that's okay because I'm using stepping stones in my Farmhouse Christmas series. I'm using that as my brown in that, so more stepping stones for me. So so the Bless Our Home, I was happy with that. I'll probably get more of it done once I get through this, all of the new starts, and then it becomes a work in progress, and then I can just pick it up and stitch on it whenever. And then yesterday was Mother's Day. It was cold and thunderstorming on and off all day, and it was windy. So it was great for just staying in bed, and I stayed in my jammies for most of the day and did get up and get dressed to go and visit my mom, and came home, cooked dinner and stuff like that. So, but I got a lot done on this, and I'm really happy with it so far. This is the recipe for a snowman from Pine Street Design, or Pine Mountain Design, sorry, Pine Mountain Designs. And I started stitching it, and then I realized I was like almost 2/3 of the way done through the snowman line, and the snowman had already been done, and I realized, crap, I didn't leave the proper spacing between this top line that's done in the green and this line. So I had to rip the green out last night and restitch it. So that only took me like an hour to do because I had to rip out the entire line and then get it back in there. So I'm really happy with how this is going so far. And I do have to go and get a skein of DMC because for some reason I thought I had DMC Baby Blue and I don't. And that a bunch of the snowflakes are done in that. So I feel like I can't quite get to the point where I wanted to be on it because I need this blue so I can get the snowflakes and all of the kind of wispy winds done on it. So I'm going to pick that up probably tomorrow after I leave school because I'm only there for a few hours in the morning. So I'll do that. So that's all of my whips for now. I'll have new ones and more to show you next week, including the new Plum Street samplers that I'll be starting either today or tomorrow. Now I guess I can do a haul. This is, the first thing I have is somebody on, I can't even remember if it was on Instagram. It was either on Instagram, on a YouTube, it was one of the three. So it was either Facebook, Instagram, or on a YouTube channel. Someone showed an ornament that they were doing that was out of the Just Cross Stitch Christmas ornament issue that, from 2017. And I typically don't buy cross stitch magazines because usually it's stuff that I don't typically stitch, like, and I'm basing this on decades ago, back when I was feverishly stitching before. It was a lot of things like tea towels and a lot of Ada, and that stuff didn't interest me, so I didn't really buy the magazine unless it was like a designer that I was really interested in and it was a bigger piece. And I've never really stitched Christmas ornaments, but I thought, why not? And so I was like, oh, I need that. And then I realized, oh, it's from 2017. I'll never be able to find it. So then somebody sent me or suggested that I Google it. And so I did find some listings on like eBay, and they were like an arm and a leg because it retails for $9.99. So it's a $10 magazine. It comes out once a year, but still, I'm like, it's $10. That's like, a chart and a half. That's like 5 skeins of fancy floss. So I was like, do I really want it? And then I found online a listing for this Annie's craft store, and it's anniescatalog.com, I think it is. And they have a Facebook page and everything, and went on there, and they had the issue, and it was like half price. And I was like, what? So then I was looking, and they had the 2016. So this is from 2016. So this year, this will be 2 years old. And again, it's all Christmas ornaments, tiny little, you know, littles to do. And I thought, well, how cool is that? I'm like, I could do those as like swap gifts, and, you know, if I, you know, ever get my butt in gear and go to a retreat or something, you know, doing something like that. I got these 2 magazines, 2, free shipping, less than $9. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. So I definitely would recommend them. The magazine, I ordered them last weekend, and they just came in my mail today. So a little over a week. I'm not in a rush, so I thought perfect. And they sent me an email when it shipped and everything, and so I was super thrilled and happy with getting these from them. First time shopper, definitely won't be the last. They do have a program where you can sign up to get a trial for 30 days on like their like VIP list, and it gives you free shipping, and for that 30 days, and then you pay, I think, so much either a month or so much for the year for the VIP program, and then you get free shipping. So if you buy a lot of like magazines, and it's not just cross stitch, it's other kinds of needlework, knitting and crochet and quilting. So, you know, if you're into all of that, it's definitely worth checking it out. I'll link it below, and you know, at least do the 30-day trial, and you get you some free shipping, you know, for anything you might need. Next, I got my fabric. So my fabric for I said before I wasn't happy with my fabric selections for my Plum Street designs, and so I wanted to get the color that they called for on the Babushka's Bees, which was made by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I went to their website, and it said that they had like a 6-week turnaround, and I thought, well, that's not gonna work. So then I started hunting around. Where can I find who carries Fabrics by Stephanie fabric? And so I ended up on my favorite website ever, which is Etsy. And I found a seller on Etsy who carries a lot of the hand-dyed fabrics, R&R, Weeks Dye Works, Picture This Plus, and she also had Fabrics by Stephanie. And so I found the fabric that I wanted, which was the 36 count linen toasted almond, and got it, and it's beautiful, and it's just so pretty. You can see just a little bit of modeling in it, so I can't wait to stitch on that. So that piece is for Babushka's Bees, because it's the smaller of the 2 Plum Streets that I'm stitching. It's the smaller of the 2. So I got that, and then I was also looking for the one for this chart that I'm stitching, which I'll turn it this way. This is Harvest Keeper. So Harvest Keeper calls for Confederate Gray, 35 count. And I was like, I really don't want to do 35 count. And I really didn't want, it wasn't the color that I was like envisioning in my head. So I looked at a bunch of different hand-dyed colors on various websites, and I really liked this color red. And so I didn't want to order fabric from 2 different places, because it was then I'd have to pay shipping twice. So I looked, and she happened to have the Wren, which is from Picture This Plus, that I wanted. And I just love the modeling. It looks very, It's just so pretty. It looks very fallish, which that's the kind of aesthetic that I wanted to go with. And so she had a big enough piece for the Harvest Keeper. And so I ended up getting these two from her. Very, very quick shipping. She is the sweetest can be. Her name is Nancy. And we've like been corresponding. Hi Nancy, I know you're watching because you subscribed to my channel. So we got to talking and everything, and she's super, super sweet. And if you don't know that there is an option of Etsy for cross stitch materials, there's tons of shops and sellers on Etsy that sell the charts, that sell the fancy threads, that sell the nice fabric. And I just like being able to having Etsy as a option because I don't have a lot of options here as far as a local needlework shop. So it makes it very difficult. I don't have the ability to like go and feel the fabric and look at it in person. So a lot of my shopping has to be done online. But I was super, super happy with her stuff. I found a lot more stuff and put it in my Etsy shopping cart. So I'll be looking at that. So thank you so much, Nancy, for this. Her shop is Needle Case Goodies. Go and check her out. I'll put her Etsy link down below. Check her out, her shop, and see if she can, you know, help you out finding something. I also had a tiny little order from 123 Stitch with the closing and retirement of Lizzie Kate. I have been hunting because I owned the autumn 4 seasons flip it, and I was looking for the other 3 seasons, and what would happen is I would find like one in the other 2, and I figured I don't want to go through all of this trouble trying to track them all down. I want to be able to find all 3 together and order them. And so finally 123 Stitch got in the other 3 seasons that I needed. So I got the spring season, and I haven't decided if I'm going to change anything on this. I got the summer, and the summer has pink house. I don't really do pink unless it's like around Easter time. So I might change that a little bit and change the pinks in this to some other color. And then I have the winter now, and I love it because it has a cardinal, and you will come to know from me over time that I have a thing for cardinals. So yeah, you'll see that around Christmas time. I have tons of stuff that has cardinals, and I have lots of charts that I want to stitch that have cardinals on them. And then I got the bowhin needles, which this is new for me. I use John James a lot, and I use Thread Keeper. I believe that they're called Thread Keeper. Anyway, a lot of you recommend these, so I was excited to get a pack of those and see. My favorite needle size to stitch with, if I could talk, is a 26, and I sometimes do a 28, but then if I do have like 22s for when I'm stitching on larger counts, like 18 count or 10 count, you know, I need that larger needle because otherwise the little needle gets just lost. And then my last order was just a quick one from one of my favorite shops, another Etsy seller, Rachel, and her shop is called the Cottage Needle, and she's in Oklahoma. And I found her when I first got back into stitching, and she's so great because she'll combine, I'll like send her a list, I'm looking for XYZ charts and I need these threads, and she'll put together a listing for me that's only for me, and then I can check out. So she's awesome about doing that, and she also is great about finding stuff like, I'm looking for this, do you think you could get it for me? And so she's really great at that. So I love Rachel to death, and if you're looking for a resource, definitely go. Rachel will be happy to help you, and she's great. She's really, really wonderful. And she, like, if you spend a certain amount in her shop, you get free shipping. So that's easy for me to do in her shop. And especially because I don't buy all the time, I like combine everything together. And then if she puts in one listing, I've hit that threshold and then I get free shipping. So it's awesome. So she got me the last of my Country Cottage Needleworks Main Street, which this is the dress shop. So now I have all of them. I just have to finish up on the flower shop and then stitch this and then finish my border and then I'll be done. I'm so excited that that'll be a finish this year because I just started that in February. So I was able to, I've got, of the 10, I've got 8 of them complete. You know, and that's not too bad. It's mid-May, so, you know, that's been a really nice one. And then I got my Mary string. As you know, I'm doing the string series. So this one, I decided that because I also have snowy string that'll be coming to me. The snowy, along with the other 3 strings that I'm already working on, 2 of which are done, the Thankful, they'll all be done on that same fabric, that that even weave that I'm doing it on. And then what I'm going to do is do this, because Mary only comes out for display at Christmas time. And I don't know if you saw, let me open that up so you can see that. So that will only be displayed around Christmas time. So I'm going to do that on a different color fabric than the rest of my strings, because my other strings will go, they'll basically be finished so that I can just put them up each season and then they'll stay up for a month or 2, whereas this one will come out, we'll get like a 35 or 40 day viewing showing and then go back into the storage. And then I got my fancy threads. These are Weeks Dye Works threads. So this is crimson, very Christmassy colors. This is emerald. These are just the ones that I didn't have that I needed to get. This is Louisiana hot sauce. I love the bright reds. And this is Hunter. And then it also calls for like holly and whitewash, which I already own, so I didn't need to buy more of those. But I needed that to be able to work on the Mary string. So that's it. That's everything from me this week. Stitch wise, I have some more projects to start, and then by the end of the week I'll be doing more, just working, more new starts. I'll be just doing works in progress. My original goal was to take everything that I've worked on so far this month and then repeat it again. So I will have worked on everything in my works in progress, or my new starts, my mania starts, I should say, twice during the month of May. I almost said March. May. 1 second. So, ooh, look at the time. So I'm hoping to still plan that way, but a couple of them I may work on more than others, because I know there's a couple of them that I want to try and get to a finish point so that I can get them to be, you know, finished. I'm going to try to do some finishing myself with the sticky board and fabrics. I have a couple of display ideas I want to do with them, so I have that. There's also some new stuff that's coming out. Hands-on Design comes out with the new Chalk on the Farm series. And if you haven't seen the sneak peek of the small piece of it, go and watch Priscilla and Chelsea. Go now. From what they said on their video from this weekend, and from what Kathy is hinting around to, the full preview is coming this week because it releases on the 21st, which is a a week from today. So that's on my wish list, and as soon as it comes out and is ready, I want to, like, as soon as I have all my stuff for it, I want to go and get it started because it's amazing. I haven't done any of the other larger chalk pieces before, and as soon as I saw this one, I'm like, ugh, I have to do it. I have to do it. I don't know where I'm going to hang it in the house, maybe in the kitchen, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to have to do that. There's also a couple of other new things that are coming out, or that I'm going to be hopefully getting, that I'm thinking I want to start on sooner than later. So I really need to kind of evaluate and see, okay, because I hate to stitch all this stuff and then it just sits in my to be finished bin. You know, it's the stitching's complete and then it's just a piece of cloth with thread on it, and it's not out and being looked at and being appreciated. So I have to kind of evaluate and prioritize which ones I want to get to the point where they're finished and out and up. So that'll be ongoing. And then hopefully next week, if not in my next video, in my following video, I might do hauls like once a month or every 2 weeks, because I don't really get a lot of stuff on a weekly basis. My funds are limited, and so I can't really do that kind of stuff. But regardless, you will still get a video from me every week. And I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that you have a great week. Mine will be spent dodging raindrops and thunder clouds. And then upcoming, we have our last soccer. So I will try not to take my stitching to the last soccer game because we really have to cheer. And my phone is ringing, so I'm going to end it here. So I hope you guys have a great week stitching. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for subscribing. Like this video. Go and visit me on Instagram if you don't already. Follow me there. And have a wonderful week. And I'll see you stitching real soon. Take care. Bye.